Hi, everybody. Welcome to Soapbox. My name is Mauro DePasquale. Soapbox produced right here at WCCA TV, the People's Channel. You're watching us on Worcester Cable Channel 194 or anywhere around the world at WCCATV.com. Streaming in real time. There also you can find many of our works available for free on-demand viewing, and there are well over, I think, 7,000 shows up there. This is show number 1,201 today, so we're very excited about breaking that 1,200 show barrier. I think it's the longest running show in Massachusetts at this point. So we're very appreciative of your support out there. I want to say thank you to our sponsors for today's show, Stephen Welch Opticians, Acuri Motor, and Worcester Eye Care Associates, all of Worcester. We want to thank you for sponsoring, and all the members of our circle of friends, members who make our programming here at WCCA possible, along with the City of Worcester's cable license franchise. Without that, we would not be able to exist. So we're very appreciative of that. You can find us on Facebook, WCCA TV. You can find us on Twitter, WCCA TV 13, Instagram, WCCA TV 13, and on YouTube, WCCA TV 194 Worcester. So we're everywhere you are as well. So we want to thank you for watching. Want to bring your attention to June 22nd. We want you to attend the Central Mass Jazz Festival that's coming up. This is WCCA TV's only fundraiser, and you know it's. Thank you for putting that up there, Frank. And it's June 22nd at 12 noon. It's going to be. There's actually going to be a 5K run right before it. The Central Mass Jazz Fest 5K run at 10 a.m. and then it's followed by the concert. Some great jazz. You will not find a full day of jazz anywhere else. I can guarantee you right now. Steve Kirby, Illumination, Mike Renzi, who works with Tony Bennett, Greg Abadi, Jim Purcell, Dave Frank, who used to play with Ray Charles, Isosceles Groove, Pamela Hines, an award-winning jazz artist, Fernando Holtz, who's a Brazilian jazz. So there's a lot of great music in store. Full day jazz, and guess what? It's free to the public. Thanks to our many sponsors who are making it possible. And we want to thank those sponsors. FMG is presenting this. FMG Financials, Shrewsbury Street Merchants Association. We also have the Berkshire Bank, Fallon, and many others, WICN Radio, the Pulse Magazine, all helping make this possible. So we're very grateful to all of you out there for being our sponsors. So June 22nd is the date. You want to mark in your calendars a Saturday, full day jazz on Shrewsbury Street at Cristoforo Colombo Park, also known as East Park in Worcester. A great day in store for you there, so pay attention, and we want to see you there. Today's show, a guest who's been a recent guest, not long ago, a few months ago, which actually seems like yesterday, Darlene Corbett. She's a hypnotherapist, a therapist, author, and speaker. And she's joining us. Last time you were here, we talked about your book.
Yes.
How's that going?
Really well. Stop depriving the world of you.
Yeah.
I hope people are stopping depriving the world of them.
Yeah. You know, you had a quote in that book that I've been using and telling myself over and over again. It was a quote that you took from a movie. And it was something I can't.
The Collateral Beauty one?
Yeah, Collateral.
Yes.
Yeah, you want to say what that quote was? Because you.
I don't remember the quote exactly.
See, I did the same thing. But I went by it. But it's like finding the beauty in even the worst situations.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It's all about that.
And I just wrote another blog about it, searching for the collateral beauty.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a beacon of hope, because so many people commented on how they really were touched by that whole idea of collateral beauty.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And that's really important.
Yes.
That's a real great guide, I think, especially when you're starting to feel down and you feel hurt and things happen to you, or you just get the regular. People don't realize this, you know, that in Facebook era, you know, you look, everyone's like smiling, they all look like they're having a great time. But life isn't all smiles.
That's right.
And it's not supposed to be either.
That's right. That's right. It's really topsy-turvy. We have obstacles. And so during the darkest of times, or not so dark, but for you so dark, you have to search for it. It's the only way to go on.
Right.
Looking for it,
right. Yeah. So you have to tell yourself there's something good out there. Look for that, like you say, collateral beauty. Which is really important.
Yes.
So today, you know, so thank you for doing that, for bringing that forward.
I'm
because
so glad.
I think, you know, people who watch that show may have picked up on that as well.
Yes, good.
So today we'll talk about hypnosis.
Yes.
Now, hypnosis is an altered state of consciousness as far as I know.
Yes.
So what does that mean?
So it means certain stimuli comes forward, certain retreats in the background. So do you like to read?
Yeah, when I have time.
If you like something and you get engrossed, you don't hear what's going on behind you. It's retreat into the background because you're so focused. You can hear it, but you're not listening. So when you're in a restaurant, for example, and you're talking, there's noise all around us, people are next to us, we don't pay attention, we don't hear them. They fade in the background because we're engrossed in our conversation. So it's an altered state. And so people think hypnosis means you lose consciousness. That is a big myth. Your consciousness is heightened, but you tap into the unconscious along with the conscious.
Okay.
And to put it simply, hypnosis, I was told by a 90-year-old hypnotherapist just a few years ago, call it a daydream, and that's what it really is, a daydream.
It's like when you get lost, totally lost in that daydream and no one's interrupting.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
So that's what hypnosis is.
That's what hypnosis is. And when you drive, you know how most people drive, we wonder how we get there sometime?
Yeah.
We dissociate. That's a phenomenon of hypnosis, dissociation. You never, obviously, you don't encourage hypnosis when you're driving, but that particular phenomenon, the daydream, the dissociative state, is what helps people be able to be hypnotized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that state can come on by itself, though,
Absolutely,
right?
And that's why kids are highly hypnotizable. You see them floating off, they're fantasizing, because they're in a dissociative state, they're daydreaming. But a lot of adults can too. I mean, 60 to 70% of people fall in the moderate range. I happen to believe most people have some hypnotizability, but it's using that phenomenon of being able to go inward within yourself and use your imagination or take in what you're hearing from the hypnotherapist, who's really the guide. It's really you that's making it happen.
Yeah. So how does the hypnotherapist guide?
Yes.
So you're actually guiding some level of consciousness,
Yes,
right?
that's right. So there's 4 stages in the hypnosis I practice. The first stage is the induction. You put somebody in what's called a trance or a state of well-being or a state of inwardness. Trance maybe makes people cringe a bit because they don't know what it means. I didn't know what it meant. I almost didn't learn.
Yeah.
Trance.
You call it induction?
The induction is the first stage. You induce what's called a state of well-being or trance. The second state is the deepening, and that's where the people who are skeptical, really, you see them get more relaxed. And I use what many people are familiar with, waves of relaxation. It's just a progressive muscle relaxation, but you see people close their eyes and they just look like they're totally relaxed. The next phase, the third phase, is the working phase. That's where you do problem solving or you do more encouragement, reinforcing. There's all kinds of issues that can be addressed in this stage. And then finally is the termination stage. You take them out of hypnosis.
Termination.
Yes.
Yeah, that's when you bring them back
to
just regular.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is, you see people look like they've opened their eyes and they've been in another world, but they've been in their own world. But the reason why they look like they've opened their eyes and look like they weren't in reality, which they are totally in reality, is if you have your eyes closed for a while and then the lights are on, you open your eyes, you're going to look like...
It's like when you wake up when you sleep.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what about sleep? Is that...
It's a very good, it's a question. It's not sleep, but people can fall asleep. You can use it actually. Sleep disorders you can use it for. I've actually hypnotized people where they fall asleep and I have to go wake them up. And it doesn't happen a lot, but they'll say, oh, but they're taking in the information. But at one time, hypnosis was thought to be a form of sleep. And they actually coined it as hypnosis, the god of sleep, until they realized it wasn't sleep. And that really came later in the 19th, maybe early 20th century, they realized hypnosis is not sleep.
Yeah.
So, but it can be like sleep.
Right.
Yeah.
Because isn't when you go into REM, isn't REM sleep?
REM is very...
Where you sort of, a conscious state kind of gets altered a little bit somehow?
Yes, that's real sleep. But this is more just an altered state. And what I often tell people, you know how you're on the beach sometime and you're kind of dozing out, but you're aware, but you're not. It's kind of like that, but you're not in a sleep. Your consciousness is still heightened, but you're tapping into the unconscious also.
So you say heightened consciousness.
Yes, focused attention.
Okay.
That's a phenomenon of hypnosis. is focused attention, being able to focus on.
And that focus is when you filter out other things.
That's
Just
right.
Focus it. If it's this microphone, it's just that, and
That's
I don't
right.
see anything else. So now, so those are the are there more than one kind of hypnosis?
There are, and the one, I'm not real familiar with them, but one is the one Freud used, more direct. And he talked about hypnosis helping him develop psychoanalysis. He stopped using hypnosis. I think he thought it was too controlling, and he wanted a freer form. So he left it aside, but he used a direct form. Then there's Ericksonian, which quite frankly, I'm not familiar with, but I suspect I use some of the techniques when you've been doing hypnosis a long time. But it's a different kind of hypnosis, and a lot of people love it. It was formed by Milton Erickson, and he has a lot of followers. And then I use something called permissive hypnosis. You always know you're being hypnotized. So, for example, I will tell you, you're going to go, I'm going to ask you to close your eyes and just empty your mind and go and just get relaxed, and you will know you're being hypnotized. You know you're permitting me to help guide you into a hypnotic state.
Okay.
So it's the permissive hypnosis is what I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the difference between the direct, like you mentioned Freud, what's the difference between direct and permissive?
I think it's a more...
If I sat down on a couch and was talking to Freud,
yes,
I would kind of know he's going to do something.
He would, but he'd be telling you. I think it's much more controlling.
Okay.
It's much more direct. And even though permissive is direct, I'm going to say perhaps you might go inward. Perhaps you might imagine that you are able to walk down a path and see beautiful colors in the garden. It's always very perhaps you might want to. It's never like do it.
Yeah.
It's giving you the choice.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So you sort of surrender to direct. You kind of just go right in.
Right.
The other way, you're sort of participating.
Right, you are, and you're also, on some level, not on some level, you have to trust the hypnotherapist to some degree, to believe that they know what they're doing, and to honor that. But even skeptics I've seen, they'll go into hypnotic state.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Hypnosis is it's not something new. You mentioned Freud earlier, and it's been around before him, I'm sure.
The dawn of humankind.
Yes, they've been doing it for a long time.
A long time. The ancients were doing it.
Yeah.
And they found out, believe India, they did it in India, the Chinese, maybe the Egyptians, but the Greeks are the ones where they found the evidence. And Asclepius was a physician back then. I'm saying his name incorrectly. He was a physician, and they believed that he would invite people to come, and they would prepare for it. They would go into baths and get ready for this process for the days on, and he would invite them to sit in a rudimentary chase, and he would whisper, "You are going to be able to sleep better. Your pain is going to go away." And the reason why they know this happened is they found carvings on the temple, the ancient temple relics. Carvings were that this form of whatever they called it back then really was effective. It continued through the ages, and it received more heightened exposure when Dr. Mesmer started practicing. It was during Benjamin Franklin's time, and he started seeing that he would take wooden tools and put it across blood and slow down blood flowing. And then he realized he was making a suggestion. He got a little bit full of himself and started wearing wizard hats and magic wands. So he basically got told, this doesn't work. Leeching is more effective for these things.
Right.
But eventually they realized he did.
Yeah.
And then it went on, and then in World War, it went on, they discovered hypnosis is not sleep. And then in the 20th century, they realized that during World War II, they didn't have pain. They didn't have an anesthesia for the pain, so they used hypnosis. And then they realized there's more to this, and it became an evidence-based treatment modality, and the American Society of Clinical Hypnosis was formed. And that's the history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do they do? Try to get the person to divert their thought from pain?
Yes.
So if I had a wound or something, I would think something different?
Yes. There's some techniques. There's various techniques. But, for example, there's something I use called a glove anesthesia. And you imagine numbing the hand as if a glove of anesthesia was going over it. And then you bring it to that part of your body that's in pain. Now, I don't know what they did back then, but I'm sure that's what they did. They probably put them into... Yes. Yeah. People who perform surgery even with it, but go ahead.
Right. Now, you see in the movies today and stuff, people think of hypnosis, they use hypnosis for mind control. The CIA or something.
Yes.
There's a trigger word, all of a sudden they're going to get a trigger word, and like 20 years later, and they're going to go off on some kind of weird binge.
Right.
So is that a myth? Is there any truth to that, or what's the?
It's a good question. I would have said absolutely a myth until I heard somebody present, and he talked about certain cults using that. But I believe they're already so susceptible. They've already been indoctrinated that the hypnosis just augments that. I don't believe you hypnotize somebody and all of a sudden they're going to go off and do that. They have to have already been indoctrinated into that philosophy. So the hypnosis, again, augments that. I've hypnotized hundreds of people, maybe a few thousand. I've never seen that happen. People will not be hypnotized if they don't want to.
Right.
They won't do anything they don't want to.
Right.
People that bark like dogs and quack like ducks on stage are willing to do that. They're a little exhibitionistic.
Yeah.
So
they're willing, and then they get the thought in their heads, and they sort of just do it.
Yes.
So you brought up the word cults, and that's true. You know, when you read in the news about various cults, no matter what they might be, they're already into sort of the dogma.
That's right.
Of the cult.
Yes.
So now, can someone be hypnotized without them knowing it? Can somebody sort of? Well, I imagine that's what brainwashing might be a little different.
Yes,
right?
I think so. I don't know. They probably use a form of technique.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of.
So I always think commercial television is like a form of hypnosis.
Well, it can be.
They're always selling you something. Yeah,
yes,
subliminal
messaging.
Right.
So yes, I think that there's different forms of hypnosis or hypnosis-like, information that's being sent. But to be directly, the way I do it, the permissive, you're going to be hypnotized, I have not seen that. But can it be done? Sure, that's what the cults, I think. They're using something within the people that are already, again, ready and susceptible. You have to be susceptible, I think, and willing to take it on. Yeah.
So they have to physically, tangibly put out some kind of message.
Yes.
To do that, right?
Yes.
It's not done by like some, they'll show somebody doing with the watch.
That's actually a technique.
Is it really?
Yes.
So but if somebody's in a cult, they're not standing there going,
no, they're
you will
not.
follow me.
No.
Right? Okay.
It's these charismatic leaders. They're very powerful, so they probably use this over and over, a form of trying to encourage people, seduce people, provoke people. But I truly believe those people have already been indoctrinated. Someone just doesn't come along and say, you're going to do this, unless they're susceptible.
Right.
Yeah.
But to go back to my original, they could, for military purposes, they could, if someone's willing to be part of it, they can say, okay, we're going to give you this code.
Yes. Yes, I believe so. There's all kinds of ways. I mean, it's a mindfulness. Hypnosis falls in the realm of mindfulness, so I'm sure there are. I'm just not familiar, nor do I want to be.
Yeah. So now, in your line of work, in addition to, I know, I've heard in the past that people use hypnosis for various forms of outcomes, like it could be to quit smoking.
Yes.
Or, stop eating, which is something I wish I had in my head all the time, but I can't stop eating sometimes.
Right.
So, but those are the typical, are they the typical?
They're typical, and quite frankly, I think they're some of the toughest because some of the others are easier. For example, so it can be used for phobias, habits. It can be used for good old self-efficacy. If people are depressed, you can give them messages to believe in themselves. Lift them up. Like, for example, the collateral beauty kind of thing. You can take and have them believe there's something better, something hopeful. I call it the instrument of hope. That's how I see hypnosis. It's an instrument of hope because you can really give somebody something to latch onto, that it's not you, it's coming from them. But it can be used for the anxiety disorders, very, very effective for the anxiety disorders, the performance anxiety disorders, test taking, sports, golf. I've hypnotized people for golf, skiing. It can be used for, there's just so many things. As I said, phobias, some physical things, some skin disorders, you can slow it down. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I know a hypnotherapist that actually hypnotized somebody for surgery. They couldn't have anesthesia. I wouldn't do that. I don't know. I would never think of doing that, but this is someone that was desperate many years ago, and this hypnotherapist performed that. So it's a marvelous tool, and I'm glad I discovered it because I was skeptical like everyone else. I thought, I'm not learning that. And I did, and that was that.
Yeah, people must come to you, and they're a little still skeptical, but they're there.
Yes.
So how do you get them over that point of being...
It's a good question. Well, some people... So my own clients I see and I incorporate it. There's some people I've seen for 10 years, they refuse to try it. They're so fearful of it. But then they eventually realize, what do they have to lose? They know me. Then I have some people that come in off the street and they want to be hypnotized. They know about it, they understand it, or they just feel that there's nothing else that's been effective, so they want to give it a try. So it depends on the situation, the person. Some people are willing. Some people, the first time they do it, they're doubtful. They're not sure they really like it. They don't know if it really worked because they feel they weren't under. There is no under. Under
Right.
is...
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Do they have expectations?
Yes.
Like, do they expect to be, like, somehow completely thinking differently?
Yes.
Yeah, so, but are they expected to, or?
No.
No,
So,
right,
so when I trained, I almost didn't train. I'm not going to learn that hocus pocus. I had been in mental health for 10 years. That's how strong the myth is. And then I learned, I thought, wow, this is wonderful. But yes, they expect that somehow under means in another world. Well, you are in your own world, but under is just a state of well-being.
Right.
And that's what I tell people. It's not, you will see you're totally in control. And people, they usually, when they open their eyes, they'll say, wow, that was interesting. That was different. But I wasn't under. Yes,
Right,
you were,
right.
but not the way you think.
Right, because they're still in that, like you said earlier, they're still aware.
That's right.
I'm sitting on the couch here in front of me, you're talking
Yes.
to me, I'm aware of all that, I can hear the clock ticking or
That's
whatever.
right, that's right.
So they're still, they expect somewhere to go into like another world or
Right,
something.
but some of those things fade. So the clock
Right.
ticking fades.
Right.
My office
become
has
focused.
They become exactly focused attention.
Yeah. That's really interesting
Yeah.
stuff. So now, do you have an advanced degree in that? Because you mentioned that you started studying it.
Yes. So because I have a license, I have a graduate degree. The people I work with and the people I belong to, the groups, you have to have at least a graduate degree. There's no law in Massachusetts, or to my knowledge, in the rest of the country, that you have to have a degree. So there's different kinds of courses. Someone can take 2 weeks. Somebody can be in the field 10 years.
Yeah.
People don't know the difference.
Yeah.
I don't disparage that. People have the right to do what they want. But the difference is, I think you really are better off understanding the human psyche, because it can be very tricky. You can tap into things that people are not always aware that they remember, or you're tapping into something that may be something they don't want to remember. And so you have to be aware, in my opinion, of the human psyche.
Yeah.
But some people do it for smoking and weight,
Yeah.
and they've only done a few courses. And but I
Right.
really, yes. But from the people, the American Society of Clinical Hypnosis, you must have at least an advanced degree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you do, it makes good sense. Some people naturally, if they've suffered through some kind of traumatic experience,
Yes.
they may, I don't know what the technical word is, but they probably cover it up in their background.
You're right. They repress
something-
it.
They repress it.
Yes.
So as a hypnotherapist, you have to be sure you're not going to bring that back.
That's right. So
Or prematurely.
Well,
at
you're
least.
right, because years ago when I trained, the whole idea of the sexual abuse movement
Right.
was coming on, and rightfully so. But unfortunately, some therapists became zealous, and so there was a question: false memory versus real. And there's a lot of questions
Yeah,
around that.
right,
But
sure.
I believe that they're real memories, and I have
Yeah.
seen people when they're not ready to see those memories. It doesn't happen a lot, but when it does, I will take them to their safe place, that you'll learn more about that as you're ready to understand it. And that's where it's tricky, because some people age regress people. You can do that, and I know how to do that.
Right, right.
But you don't want to do that unless, well, I choose
Yeah.
not to do it, but yeah.
Then what about like people getting hypnotized to see like past lives and stuff? Does that ever happen to you? Did people come to you looking for that?
You know, it's interesting. I've never seen that happen. I've
Yeah.
never seen somebody age regress to another life. And the kind of hypnosis I practice, it's not
Yeah.
sanctioned. But, and I believe, I don't know, who knows if
That
it's past
gets
lives?
into the funny realm, right?
That's
It's,
right. And
yeah,
I always tell,
questionable.
I've had people ask me, do you do past lives? I said, no, I think there's enough going on in this life
Yeah, that's right.
to keep us busy. So,
Right,
yes.
yeah.
So, but there are some that will do that.
Yeah.
Again, not the people in my organization.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah. Now, what about, we're not time, this is kind of fascinating, but there's once in a while you come across child prodigies.
Yes.
And they can all of a sudden like play the piano.
Yes.
Where it would take somebody like me like a whole lifetime to still learn.
Yes.
So what do you make of that as a therapist? And,
You know, it's interesting you asked that. I just talked about that. I think some people discover their gifts early on. And maybe if they get a block, a hypnotherapist can help them unblock it. Some people discover their gifts later. Who knows why? There's so many variables. I just think it's the way we develop, it's our environment. But hypnosis can help if there's a block, try to augment, to help them put aside that block. What's getting in the way? Let's help you find healthy, effective ways to remove that block. But some people don't discover their gifts until 50, 60, 70.
Right.
So, who knows? Maybe you are a child. Maybe you can play the piano, but seriously,
Yeah.
you don't always know. Some people don't start until later in life. But yes, those young people are gifted early on. They discover it. Yeah.
So I want to thank you. We're already out of time. Look
Wow.
at that. It goes by
Yes,
really
it
quick. Right?
does.
If people want to learn more, Darlene, how can they contact you?
Sure, they can visit, there's 2 websites they can see. One is my Unstuck by Darlene Corbett, and the other is my page at Needham Psychotherapy Associates. And that's where I practice as a hypnotherapist. I also practice in the Worcester area, so it's DarleneCorbett.com. That's the best
So DarleneCorbett.com. Yeah, and then, or it's Facebook, Darlene Corbett Unstuck.
That's right.
That was the book, right? Wasn't that
the book? You're right. Good memory. The book is Stop Depriving the World of You, A Guide to Getting Unstuck.
Right, yeah. So DarleneCorbett.com, and it's DarleneCorbett.com. Darlene, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, a pleasure.
It was a lot of fun talking with you about hypnosis.
Thank you for having me.
A lot to share here. So if you have questions, give Darlene, get in touch with her through her website, Darlene at DarleneCorbett.com. Until next time, I'm Mauro DePasquale. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you on WCCA TV, the People's Channel.